Mr. Maseko, good morning. Thank you very much for coming.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Is this part of what mining companies are expected to do in terms of the mining charter, in terms of inclusive growth, or is this a Kumba Iron individual effort?
It is actually a bit of both. So it is driven by what the mining charter asks of us, but we've decided to do more than just that, to go right beyond what our legal requirement is, and actually take it from the heart and drive it, because we actually realize...
So you're not doing this for compliance sake?
No, it can never be, because if we're doing it for compliance sake, then it's not going to work.
So is this sustainable? I mean, when I read your press release, and 2 years ago it was $500 million, now it's 2 billion rand. It's like, wow, is this sustainable?
Yes, of course it is. I think there are two things that we're looking on to make sure that it is sustainable. And one of them is development of the suppliers around the communities.
So you offer skills development, or you upskill the suppliers themselves if they are not ready, so they get to a particular point where they get onto your database?
Of course. We've got what we call the Supplier Development Program and an Entrepreneur Development Program. So the first one is the entrepreneur, and when you're ready, then we get you onto our Supplier Development Program.
At an umbrella level, what kind of products and services are you procuring from the local suppliers, wherever your mines are?
They are all linked to our supply chain. We are a mining company, so we're looking for mining-focused products, right from the equipment itself. It's still small, the supply from our communities, and then you go down the value chain, be it drilling, the blasting, and the hauling and the loading of the product itself and the processing.
I'm sure one of the positive spin-offs then, if you'd been doing this for some time and now you are ramping it up to 2 billion rand, would be the creation of jobs in those areas.
Of course. Currently we're dealing with about 300 small suppliers that are coming from the area, and they would be employing various numbers of people, ranging from about 15 to about 150 to 200.
What has been the biggest challenge for you to get the supply chain management process underway in the way that promotes inclusive growth?
Well, strangely, as the communities would remind us, it was actually firstly our own policies, how we engaged with them, and we changed that, and we dealt with the business forums that the communities have formed. They told us what they found it difficult, and we started slowly but surely working on that to make sure we break those barriers and take away those hurdles. And once that was out of the way, and we're seeing more and more of the communities coming to be our suppliers.
Now, do you find it that it's easy to identify people, or do people have to put up their... How does it work? I mean, I'm in a mining area where Kumba Iron Ore is active, and I've got this idea of a business. Do I approach you guys? How does it work? Just for a short, let's be practical.
Yeah, people are motivated out there. So once they know there was an opportunity for them to supply us, they started coming together, firstly forming companies and then coming together into forums and approaching our office. We've got hubs out on the mines where we operate, where people can come into and find out more about the opportunities that we have.
Now, people then put up their hands, and then there are opportunities, and then you identify those that you can work with. Surely not everybody would qualify.
Oh yes, we do have a selection program, and the selection program starts up really with the state of readiness of those companies, and once you are and you determine that, then you come onto our tender process, which is it's really a process to scrutinize and find out who is ready to do business with us.
As an executive of Kumba Iron Ore, has it been easy internally to convince your colleagues that this is the right way to go, this is how we must do it? Because sometimes corporates can be a little bit hesitant in embracing new ways of engaging with communities.
I think it won't be correct to say it's been that much easy, because there are some critical criteria for performance, be it safety, the quality of the work itself that needs to be done. And after a long time of working with established companies, there's a level of safety and quality that people get used to. And to bring in some people from the bottom, where you have to mentor them, guide them, it actually becomes a challenge. So that's been one of the things that we've had to work with.
And they want to see that bottom line improve as well, even if you're doing that. Am I wrong?
Of course. I mean, it is improving. We haven't seen any slack off, be it in safety or the quality of the products that we're getting.
Yeah. Okay. Finally, just very briefly, are you collaborating with anybody on any kind of project in this way, in terms of the enterprise supply development, or is Kumba Iron just doing its thing? I mean, there are institutions that are all across the country, like the IDC, for example.
Of course, we do have the IDC on board, but I think the one that I would like to highlight, I think working with the communities themselves, we actually find that they come up with most of the solutions, regardless of what the solutions are. And of course, when it comes to funding, you have to rely on the likes of the IDC.
Okay, what's next after 2 billion rand?
Well, the sky's the limit. I mean, our spend is not limited on 2 billion rands, so we've set the floor is the 2 billion rands right now, but we'll obviously ramp it up to as much as we can.
What's your total spend?
Well, it's in two folds.
2 billion out of how much?
It's 2 billion out of about 14 discretionary spend. Discretionary meaning you take away what we pay for some of the services like electricity and all of that, and then you leave out what we have a choice on what to spend on.
It's quite a chunk, 2 billion out of 14 billion of discretionary spend. Well, good luck with the program. Sounds like you are onto something that would work. I'm hoping that one day we might be able to speak to some of the people in the communities that you've been supporting to hear their side of the story, how they find the experience.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Masego.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
That's Kumba Iron Ore Supply Chain General Manager Vusi Masego.